Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Korean Starleague. I'm Nathanias, and we have a Zerg versus Terran here for you today. We are in the second semi-final because when I get the replays sent, they're not always categorized and stuff to avoid spoilers, so I didn't even realize I actually casted the first semi-final as the first series I did of the whole tournament. So that doesn't really matter because this is the second semi-final, like I said. And we have Solar in the top left from Team Onside Gaming. Their name is Onside because they actually have a Madden team where they won the World Championship going for an onside kick every time. Fun fact. You can ask Solar about that. It's fascinating. In the bottom right, his opponent from IMXL, because they only wear large jackets, he is Future. Now, here's the most interesting thing I can tell you about Future. Nothing, because I can show you instead. This really says it all. So not only does he do a barracks in the wall at the front of the natural, which is not a surprising or even a new thing anymore, he puts his first barracks much closer to his opponent's base. So he's saying to Solar, you might be thinking that I would do the Reaper build everybody does, but I'm gonna hit you a little bit harder than everybody else, a little bit faster. You know, that jab is coming in half a second sooner. It's gonna knock you out, knock you on your backside. And you're gonna land on your tailbone, actually. And even though it would seemingly just be a small punch, you've, yeah, you get like that weird feeling where like you get that tingling numbness, and man, you're on the sidelines for like 2 weeks, bro. You gotta be careful. Can't believe you're just fist fighting people out in the open. Jeez, that's dangerous. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay? I care about you. I care about your safety. So there is another barracks. So it's 3 racks Reaper is what this has turned into. First one is out. Future, what are you doing? What is happening here, man? He's going... What is it? What did they call it in the 70s? Reaper madness, back when everybody would just mass Reapers every game? That's all it talked about on the TV. Kate's grandma told me about it. Yeah, the Reaper madness. Everybody hated TVT back then, too, apparently. Wasn't just me. So, he kills the Lings, right? He gets, like, a tiny poke, but no drone kills, which you definitely want with this strategy. He can still expand behind this, like the normal Reaper play. So it's not like it's even an out-of-hand sort of thing, but... It is just such a fun, aggressive way to start the game. Oh, one Reaper does get caught, however. That is not good. It's a very momentum-based thing. Back when we were doing WCS, I actually, usually In Control would offer me $5 every time that I would say the word, I would say that word. So it kind of became a meme. People loved it. I made a lot of money on the side. Momentum, it's a big one for me. Queen at the top of the cliff does shut it down, though. The Reapers poking the front with a little grenade action. So you're still making 3 Reapers at a time. And without Ling speed or a very large number of Zerglings, the Reapers can deny the third base forever. There is a drone over there, but if the Reapers go to that spot, like right now, he should be able to deny it. Otherwise, it's actually quite nice for Solar that he gets the third base up, because he really has no right to be able to finish it, so... The fact that the Reapers are just staying here trading their grenades out with the Queens while Ling speed finishes is really, really good. Because if Solar can just finish this third and not have to cancel it even one more time, I think that's a colossal advantage for him. The natural command center is only just now finishing for Future. I mean, if he gets the Queens, then we're back in business. Okay. He's trying to do some grenade micro. He's trying to do some real fancy grenade micro. He's stepping back. He's booping. No, I think we did the momentum thing like once. It wasn't a regular thing. Usually it would be like a word. Like that would be the bet would be to squeeze a word into a cast as much as possible. Like that's the way. I know Artosis and Tasteless had their sociopath thing they did where they just wouldn't cast the caster chicken. I mean, that's just pure evil. That's just pure evil, because you're basically putting whoever has the least seniority on the desk in danger, right? You know, the producer's not gonna yell at Nick or Dan, obviously. But if Dan challenges me to caster chicken and we're casting together, like, I'm just boned. I can't do anything. If Artosis doesn't talk for the whole game, no one will care. If I don't talk for the whole game, people are like, oh my God, I can't believe you think you're on the level of Artosis. And he's just sitting there looking at me all smug like, yeah, Nathanias, you know you have to introduce those players, bitch. And I'm like, damn, Artosis is right. He's got seniority on me. And that's when I realized it's not worth playing Caster Chicken. So I much prefer games like Say the Word. Or I think we call it Keyword. Keyword is what we call it. This is a disgusting amount of Reapers, by the way. I thought the Reaper Madness joke was a little on the nose, but now I'm not sure it was enough. The cliff on this map and the way that these mineral patches make a choke, like it's actually so sick. He's getting +1, but he has not killed anything. Like it's like the Power Rangers. They're dancing around, they're moving. You can see the things are happening, but there's no result. You know, they never actually take down the evil alien chick. Otherwise, how else would she keep summoning monsters constantly? So that's kind of what this feels like. We've got a bunch of enemies that are not weak to these grenades, but these grenades are the only weapons we have. So he's building 5 Reapers at a time now. Oh man. Am I just gonna like wake up? I'm just gonna wake up. It's gonna be 6 o'clock in the morning again. Katz is gonna be texting me, Nate, get out of bed. It's your time to play. It's all coming back to me now. There's no way that the Zerglings can ever really effectively engage these Reapers, right? Even in the choke? Or maybe not. Maybe my hope in the Reapers was misplaced. Future is super dead. GG. Okay. Well. I know you guys were really, really excited. I know you were tremendously excited to know what was going to happen when a bajillion Zerglings surround the Reapers. The Reapers die. There you go. There you go. Little bow, little tip of the cap there for you. Let's go into game 2. Let's go into game 2. That was a very weird game. I think a lot of people just don't like, if you didn't know how to play against it at all and you took a bad fight or got baited into the choke, then I think there's an argument to be made for what the +1 Reapers can do. But I think that the part of it was that he forced his hand too much. He forced his hand too much. Yeah, let's not see that again. Because what really bothered me about it is, can it work? The answer is actually yes. However, oh no, he's doing the eBay block again. Future, he's a psychopath. That's all this is. He's absolutely crazy. Lock him up, throw away the key, put a straitjacket on him. All right, let's get a reverse bear trap from Saw for this guy so he can't get too far away. All right, we need to monitor him. Now you come in with the SCV and you see no gas, no pool. The Zerg player is just chilling after what you did to him. And I would love if he went for the 3rd hatch, honestly. Future went command center first this game. So I like that a lot. The Zerg has to start with their base in an unideal place. You get to take the fastest expand possible for Terran. Get the SCV production up early. That's always very nice. So that really helps get the income to a good place. And then he can kind of do whatever he wants out of this. He could go for extra barracks. He could build a 3rd command center. He could go double gas. If he builds more barracks and then like 2 is the normal number after the command center first and then gas. So this is normal. I was going to say if he starts building Reapers again, I'm going to get really upset. I'm going to get really upset. This will turn from a cast video into like one of those just rants. I'm gonna have to put on my moist critical hat and just start talking about how much I hate Future's Reaper build. But I don't think we're in that reality. I pray we're not anyway. So out of Solar, he's not being Reaper cheesed this time around. He's not gonna have to fight 5 racks worth of Reapers. And just to be clear, I was being very nitpicky of the Reapers because with +1 attack, they kill those lings crazy fast. But he was impatient. That fight with all the lings around the Reapers should never happen until that +1 is done. I will admit, because even though I don't do that build, I have to recognize its strength. The strength of that build is when +1 finishes and the Reapers need 1 less hit to kill the Lings. That actually means a lot because the Reapers, there's a lot of them and they attack fast, so, and they have multiple attacks. So they start canceling their own attack animations and resetting, and that's better. It's better to do that than to take the whole second half of the shot to kill the Ling. So it actually can work. It's just, wait for +1, bro. Sorry. It's coming out again. Solar does have Ravagers approaching. He also has a few Roaches with 2 Lings encroaching. Back in Future Space, a factory is in place. And 2 barracks we have running. Second depot at the front of the wall. No bunker, though. No bunker. No stim. No chance? Is that it? How could he hold this? If his stim gets sniped, I see no reality. Not even a Doctor Strange reality where he pulls this one out. He really cannot afford to have. There's 3 Ravagers there. Bring the repair. Please, God, don't let that stim just die without even trying to save it. Please. I will get upset. Oh, no. Oh, that's... I mean, I didn't think he could save it either way, but he should have been willing to lose some SCVs there, maybe. He's going to walk up the ramp. So what happens now? What happens here? The SCVs... Okay, they actually do get the repair on the bunker this time. That's nice. Let's keep in mind that Solar is behind on drones. And even if he was even, that would still technically be behind. So, Future, he can afford to do this. My question becomes, what exactly does he do about this awkward, like, no stim situation? Losing stim just really hurts. I think if he finishes it, he just chases these down. You kill the Ravagers, game's over. He couldn't do that, so it's a bit tough. A little bit difficult. Feels like all he can do is just wait for the starport or for stim. Solar's gonna bring his units home though, so that's nice. I think he wasn't sure when stim was gonna finish himself, or if those medevacs were gonna come in, or if he was gonna have like a counterattack or a liberator or something, so. Solar is just now taking his actual natural. So it's probably worth pointing out that, again, his economy was not that great. He's still even in workers with the Terran, which, by the way, mules exist, so. Have you heard of our Lord and Savior Mule? They can mine over patches with SCVs. They always die holding 25 minerals, and they can dance. And if you ever call one down away from a mineral patch, you're just a bad person. Even if you're you could be the most charitable human in the world. You could literally establish life on Mars. But if you drop a mule away from a mineral patch, you're a monster. You be written down in the annals of history as one of the worst people of all time, ever. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. So 2 medevacs. Stim is still not done because of aforementioned stim cancellation. But Ravagers can't really chase bio off creep. I feel like that's kind of a known thing. So Solar, he's just continuing to drone up. He's going for his lair tech now. He's getting out a few extra Lings, I think, because he wants to have that dive potential. He wants to be able to force the stim and keep the army running. That's kind of what's happening right now, is he wants to hold him back, and then this would be a great time. Yeah, there's the biles. Try to hit the medevacs, so you force everything else to lift up and move. So that's nice. Not too shabby at all. Lair is a little bit past halfway done. Stim pack is done, and there's combat shield. So now, I mean, Marines and Marauders are just completely different units with and without stim. There's nobody in this world that would argue that stim is not a transformative research. So now this is where it gets really difficult. Solar went for the early pressure, but the Ravagers, even though the biles can do damage, we've got a very fast mobile Terran army. SCVs even being pulled with this, so the biles are gonna land, just hits 1 or 2 SCVs, and if the Marines get onto the Ravagers, and when I say if, I mean when, the Marines kill them very quickly. Ravagers, they only have 120 health. That's as much as a Cyclone. They're very, very low HP, and they are dead. They're all dead. That should be game. I think Future ties it up. Nicely done. Very nicely done. The WW coming out of Solar, and now we go to game number 3. Go to game number 3. I do not know What the length of this game is, I do not know who wins. I haven't seen the bracket, but all I know is that we have a tied 1-1 series. This is the second semifinal. We already had the first one earlier with Estrella versus Dunk. And in the bottom right, we got the blue Zerg, and he is Solar. He faces off against Future in the top left. So, Future, let's take a look, right? Let's really think about this. Let's hash it out. What has actually happened in this series? In game 1, Future proxied his first barracks right outside of Solar's third. He built a second barracks back home, and then another, and then he expanded, and then he built another barracks and another, and he had 5 racks Reaper on 2 bases with +1 attack. And he took the big fight right before +1 attack finished, and he died instantly. So that was not super great. Could he try that again? I don't think so. Could he improve on it? I mean, he could. If he had +1, then I think that anything's on the table. I don't see any reason why not. But yeah, no. And then in game 2, he went command center first, but he NG blocked Solar. So he tried to force him to be aggressive. And that worked. Solar came across the map with Ravagers. He blew up Stim. And you would think that that would put him in a great position, but then Future just restarted Stim and moved across the map and killed him because, I mean, he went command center first. He had a lot of money. His army was pretty big, even though things were tough. And he pulled his SCVs with the attack as well. So it's been interesting. The way I see it, this has been just like a very, I don't know, strange, but like also full of learning moments kind of series. Like there's a lot of things you can point to in this matchup and be like, well, this is why you would do that, and this is why you would do that, and this is why Future would build his command center on the low ground, because it says Terran versus Zerg, and Zerg usually don't have anything they can do to stop you from doing that. Now, Future is sending out an SCV to the corner of the map. This is a little bit unusual. His factory's almost done. Is this going to be like Hellion drop? I'm guessing Hellion drop. He's going to build a starport here and then try to drop Hellions. He's going to rally them out here, most likely. Give him the slip. There's the Hellions. They're on the way. Starport in production. And the natural command center finishing as well. And Solar checked it too, so he saw that the orbital was beginning. Is he gonna find? No, there's no way, right? He's gonna check the corner, but there's no way. There's just no way. He's taking his third base. What Solar is doing is pretty normal. Playing on Babylon, so you have a little bit more choke points to work with. It's not as open. Like this space, I think right outside the natural is kind of open. And when you open the rocks on the third, it gets more open. But what I'm trying to say, and the reason I keep using the word open a million times, is because I'm really trying to stress how not open it is immediately anyway. That's why the medevac for the Hellions is a big thing. Because getting up this ramp, it's tough. It's tough, and it's really far from the front of this ramp to the main base mineral line. Like you're not jumping past the natural. You have to completely cross to the other side to do a run by. So I really like the medevac drop for that reason alone. Obviously, you can build a Viking or a Liberator follow-up, try to do damage, but kind of shows those Hellions. Now comes down, and I don't know if he knew, but he's about to. So he has slow lings. Slow lings to try and catch this. The Queen's just focused down on the medevac, and oh no. Oh no. Goodbye. All the Hellions into the water. You would think that would save them, but because they're fire types, it's like Charmander, you know? The tail light goes out, and or pilot light goes out. Don't ever turn off a Charmander's pilot light, all right? It's illegal. They say when that flame goes out, they die, you know? It's like crazy, but I wouldn't want that to happen. Not to my Pokemon. Bet you could never guess which one I started with. Oh, he was about to finally find the starport. Did he make a Viking? Just a Liberator. You know, I love the Pult Viking in TvZ. Probably one of my favorite little moves anybody does in this matchup is getting that Viking out to deny vision, clear overlords. There's not a lot of overlords out on the map this game, but even just pushing these back a little bit, right, into the base a little bit more can still be nice, denying vision. There's a lot of Zerg players too that don't respect it either. So you can do a lot. I think my high score with the Viking killing stuff is probably what, 7 overlords, maybe 8. We won't count null. Some guy played 20 years ago, let me blow up all of his overlords. I don't know why. I think he enjoyed it. He was a freak. Solar's gonna open up the rocks, and this starts to make things nice. Now for the Zerg, you don't have to worry about getting sieged here. I think that's maybe a big contention point, is the Terran tries to siege up either this high ground cliff or the other side of the rocks, but by being able to get it all opened up, getting this ling count nice and high, the only thing that I'm not crazy about for Solar is that this has obviously been a very good economic setup for him. He's got a lot of bases, he's got money, he's got his upgrades going. The Baneling Nest in the lair, he's not being attacked yet, so it's totally fine. I'm not making any sort of serious criticism or anything. Like, his Baneling speed is not crazy fast. So if he was getting attacked in the last minute or in the next minute, then maybe he'd be in more trouble. But Future doesn't really have many options. He's just set up very, very nicely on his 2 bases. He's taken the 3rd. I wouldn't classify this as a secured 3rd yet. Maybe Solar would try to do something here, but once he has Marines in those bunkers, you know, a little bit more. There's just not a lot to actually defend this if all the lings came over, so makes me a little nervous. Puts me on edge, you could say. Armory is coming in as 1-1 finishes, and I mean the layer is already done, so the next set of upgrades pretty easy pathway for both players now. Solar continuing to spread the creep directly ahead, and on this map, it's all about this position. You spread the creep here. Once the creep is past the line of sight blocker, you just move in every direction from here. Bring that Overlord over when the Terran's not looking. Poop a little creep here. Get a tumor up the cliff. Make life a nightmare. We do have a lot of lings, by the way. 71 lings. 80 up to 80 plus now, actually. When you have to siege up on the perimeter of your own base, that's when you know it's a lot of creep to deal with. There's a huge contingent of lings on the north side just waiting for him to step too far, because he's probably thinking that all the Zerg is right here, and that's the impression he'll get. But if he steps a little bit further forward, I think he's super dead. He's gonna get 360 surrounded like an Xbox. Oh, Liberator in the main base though is gonna get a queen. Okay, gets a little drone there. Can maybe deny some of these morphing units. Looks like gonna get an egg. Maybe gonna get another egg. Okay, gets a drone and a hit on a queen. I think that's a little bit better. I wasn't sure if he was gonna challenge this ramp. He should know. So I mean, Solar is maxed out on Ling Bane. He's got 9 Hydras coming in, but 120 Lings with 25 Banes. That is nothing to scoff at. Upgrades are dead even, by the way. The 2-2, it's like perfectly lined up for both of them. So Future's gonna scan, he sees, oh my goodness, that is a crazy amount of Ling Bane. I don't think tanks can do it at all. I think tanks are kind of becoming obsolete. Thankfully, Future agrees with me. He's getting 2nd factory and drilling claws for his Widow Mines. And you get a lot of mines against this, then I start to believe. You want to dump gas into Liberators, dump it into Ghosts, dump it into upgrades. Don't dump your gas into siege tanks, because they suck. All right, I'll say it right now. I hate tanks. I am not a fan of them whatsoever. Build the damn Widow Mines. Huge respread of the creep right outside of his base again. Scans, is forced back. Oh, there you go. That's a decent mine hit. 10 lings killed there with that mine shot. Not bad at all. I'm gonna pretend that was the first time it ever fired anyway. I have to protect my head cannon. The tanks were all left in the middle though, and that's a pretty fair space to zone away. If you're gonna be playing to zone, that's the spot. I think that maybe you want to spread them out a little bit before the Vipers come out, because we know that Vipers are on the way. It's obviously late enough for it to be that hive tech situation. But on Babylon, then you kind of get stretched thin. You're trying to hold a couple of different alleyways your opponent could take to your base. So the real question becomes, what does Solar want to do? Does he want to just make a huge Baneling bust and smash down the planetaries and just push through things here? Is he going to try and go into like Broodlords? Are we going to see Nidus? I really love when we see the Zerg players break out the Nidus against the Terran. The Terran army, you don't have warp in, you don't have recall. So if you're maxed out, then that means nothing in your main base is building. And if nothing in your main base is building and you get attacked there, then you just have no units at all. So he comes up, he's going to get the deny on one of the command centers, but not really committing to the full engagement yet is Solar. Future has still left some forces in the middle of the map, but the majority of them now protecting that west flank. And look at this, 64 more lings. Oh my goodness. It's going right back up to 100 Zerglings. And that's what you love to see. He's funneling his gas into the lurkers. He's funneling his gas into the upgrades, and especially the research for the lurkers. But as far as actual army is concerned, he hasn't been under pressure to build much anything other than just the Lings and Banes. The Queens have done a phenomenal job of spreading creep. They've maintained a tremendous amount of map vision. He's got a great idea of where the Terran army is. These Queens are going to get caught, though, trying to re-spread in the middle. That's a very nice pickup for Future. As he denies, and you're cutting the map in half in a weird way when you kill the creep that way. And the Lings and the Banes on their own will not break this. I don't think that happens. I don't think that's enough. It's going to become about the Vipers. It's going to become about the Lurkers. So let's take stock then. We have 5 Lurkers at the moment. 7 Hydras, about 100 Lings, 35 Banes. It's going to try and come through the middle. Blinding Cloud on the siege tanks. So those will go down pretty quickly. That's what I was talking about, though. That's where those Vipers really pay for themselves. Just neutralize the tanks. Those don't work against Widow Mines, by the way. The fact that he went back to building 3 tanks at a time, I get it for the Lurkers, but that's why I was like, going to Ghosts, going to Liberators. That's why I said that 5-7 minutes ago. Not that I could ever play better than this guy, ever, just to be clear. Future would absolutely smoke me like a Cuban cigar or something. I don't know. But gotta use G-rated smoking references. Oh, I was like, don't, careful about blocking your own base off there. But I would love to see ranged Liberators against the Lurkers. They're so good. They're so good. The problem with the tanks, the problem with the siege tanks is, yeah, they're always going to get Blinding Cloud. So getting the tank account high enough is just tricky because just makes your army too slow. But he's building 3 at a time. Getting into that split map scenario in TvZ, it feels like there's always a way to pull it out. But I think that Solar has already considered this direction of the game. It feels like the way that he's expanded and the way that he's kind of circled around the map from the early phases. He's got some idle drones, but not a big deal. There's definitely no risk of running out of money in play for him. He's got so much resources. So this turns into starve the Terran out, make pushes on their weak points. The problem with siege tanks, again, is, you know, they're really good when they're all bunched up together and they can all fire. But that is when Blinding Cloud becomes good. So you spread the tanks out, and then what happens? Well, tanks spread out are, honestly, they're not better than this. So the Lurkers get the great siege up on the north side. The Lings are coming with the Banes through the bot to crush that. He actually breaks these rocks too, so he can't even go over to help his own army. And now these tanks need to reposition all the way around the outside again. This siege tank's not even in range of the Lurkers. I think he has one of them in range, so almost zones away for the 3rd base. And quite a few tanks in the southwest. What should you do with all those minerals? Well, I'd like to see just him use the Lings and the Nidus. So I do really like the Nidus network. I think that's a phenomenal choice. I think the Nidus network is one of the best ways to kill a Terran, especially when they're maxed out. Because even though he kills some units, if he's building a bunch of Marines and they're all popping, oh my god, this planetary just got wrecked. absolutely wrecked. I think Solar might even just kill him here. The only thing maybe stopping him are those rocks in this Sim City, but he just absolutely torched him. Just walks up on the tanks, pops them. Now, these lurkers are all pretty exposed. The Nidus being on the high ground in scan range, to me, maybe is a mistake. But he's turning this into, oh yeah, look at that, 30 Baneling. So he's saying, look, if you try to push onto creep and counterattack, I will kill you. But I think he could just funnel all of his minerals into just huge ling dumps and just Nidus him over and over again. If you can get 50 speedlings with adrenal glands in your opponent's main base, it is very hard to lose games of StarCraft, just to be clear. You know, it's not an easy thing to do, sure, but it's good. It's very powerful. There's a reason it's not easy. So the Nidus gets shut down. The Banes are just going to trade out because Solar realizing that he just has this huge economic advantage. And there it is, GG. Future taps out at 98 supply. And a great win for Solar.